everyone, and thank you for joining me on another BrainScratch Searchlight. I'm John Lorden, your host, and this is the show where we dive into missing persons cases. Thank you so much for being a part of this. It really doesn't work without your involvement, and we're going to talk a bit about that, how you can help with that towards the end of the episode. Before I start this episode, I have a few people to thank. First of all, Blue Meanie, who you may remember as a researcher from the Missing 3 story that we did out of Springfield, Missouri. She dug into the research on this, sent it all my way. She was very passionate about me covering this subject, and as soon as I looked into her research, I was just as passionate about doing it. This is the story of Johnathan Shay. You can see a picture of him right back here. Unfortunately, this young man suffers from autism, so we're going to get into the details of his disappearance, and maybe all of us as a community can put the word out and raise awareness about this and hopefully help bring him home. Now, unfortunately, this past weekend was Jonathan's birthday. I believe he would have been 14 years old. February 13th, 2002 is his original birth date. Let's go over some of his other vital statistics here. He's missing from St. James, Missouri. Should now be 14. He's a male, white, with brown hair and hazel eyes, 5'4", 90 pounds. He was last seen on July 9th, 2015. He was wearing a gray t-shirt, dark blue shorts, and black tennis shoes. Now, Blue Meanie has put together a timeline. That's something I ask my researchers to do, is to put together some type of timeline that we can report on. So we're going to go over the timeline that she has assembled for us. July 9th, 2015 at 7:30 p.m., 13-year-old Johnathan Shay is last seen at his great-grandmother's house. He and his cousin, 11-year-old Xavier Baylor, crawl under the wire fence in her backyard. The area is very heavily wooded. The family searches before calling police. July 10th, 2015, very early at 2 a.m., an endangered persons advisory is issued. At 10:45 a.m., Phelps County alerts citizens of the 2 missing boys. At 1:15 p.m. approximately, Xavier Baylor is found at Dry Fork Creek, a snake-infested area. He hasn't seen his cousin for about 3 hours. Just a little more information about Johnathan Shay and St. James, Missouri. Johnathan has autism and has been known to wander. He has gone missing on 2 other occasions, ending up as far away as Rolla once, about 10 miles away. St. James has a lot of interstate and highway going through it. Xavier was found at Dry Fork Creek, which is an offshoot of the Meramec River. The rivers and roads have a lot of twists and turns in a very wooded area. Also, Missouri is known for having a lot of caves and sinkholes. Here on Wikipedia, we can take a look at the Meramec River. Here's a little screenshot of it on the right. This is in the Ozarks in Missouri. It's one of the longest free-flowing waterways in Missouri. It wanders about 218 miles. So as you can imagine, this is a huge search endeavor to try to find Johnathan. Now, let's take a look at a bit of the reason why he may have gone missing in the first place. And to do that, we're going to jump an article that is actually from a week after he was missing. Missing boy now considered a runaway by authorities. According to the Phelps County Sheriff's Department, missing teen Johnathan Shay is now being considered a runaway, and authorities believe he does not want to be found. Shay, 13, has been missing for more than a week. Shay went missing along with Xavier Baylor, 11, who is his cousin. The 2 had been playing in the yard of their grandmother's house when they disappeared, quote, after making plans to run away, according to the Sheriff's Department. Baylor was located the next day near Dry Fork Creek. According to St. George Arnold, Phelps County Sheriff's Department, Baylor told law enforcement that Shay wasn't going to return home or be found. Arnold indicated Shay was purposely hiding. Another piece of information that adds to this story and in a bit of a wrinkle, unfortunately, is that Johnathan was very aware of the outdoors. He loved being outdoors, and outside of that, he had read up a bit on surviving in the outdoors. So it is feasible. I know that we're now looking at, being 6-7 months away from this. But it is feasible that he could have lasted in that environment for a considerable amount of time. And one of the fears that people have is because of his autism, because of his nature to be open and friendly with other people, he might have been picked up by someone that didn't have the best of intentions. On the previous times that he had run away, I believe in both cases, he actually wound up approaching other people. And another wrinkle in this story, which is unfortunate, is he takes medication regularly to help him with his autism. And of course, he's not getting that medication since he's gone missing. So his mental state might be even a little more altered, or have some other ramifications that, quite honestly, I can't even imagine what he's dealing with, being out there in the woods, possibly alone, or if he was found and he's in some type of new situation that he might not have all his faculties or awareness to be able to get out of, which is extremely unfortunate. This is from July 17th. The Vigilante group searching for Missouri boy irritate landowners and authorities. Untrained and enthusiastic volunteers are walking through heavily wooded areas searching for Johnathan Shay, who has been missing since July 9th. During their search, they have left fences open and have even cut down fences in order to search. Gates have been left open, cows have been let out of farms, fences have been cut, said Captain Rick Hope with the Phelps County Sheriff's Department. As a result, landowners are now marking off the boundaries with purple paint and not allowing any searches to go on their property. That being said, those landowners are also cooperating with the authorities. They are promising to search their properties themselves thoroughly to make sure that he's not out there. So there's still a bit of a coordinated effort. This reminds me a bit of the Brandon Lawson case, where getting permission from the landowner seems to have really been a problem for the search teams. And here we can see a bit of an example of why. It's not exactly fair to the landowners that their assets, such as livestock, could be set free or made to leave their homes. So this is a bit of good caution and reasoning for anyone that is looking to become part of a search team. Now, the good side of this is there was so many people willing to help. There was people coming from miles and miles away, literally whole families that had heard about Johnathan and wanted to help. Even Walmart was donating, I believe, water and some other material, bug spray, to help with the search. So in terms of the community rallying together and trying to find Johnathan, there seems to be some good energy and effort put into that. Unfortunately, none of that has paid off to date, and that's why we're sitting here discussing this case right now. The most recent news article I could find about a search for Johnathan, this is from October of 2015. St. James, this is from the SEMOtimes.com. Volunteers are set to scour the St. James, Missouri area on Saturday as a search continues for a 13-year-old boy who has been missing more than 3 months. Justice in the Name Of has scheduled its 4th search event for Saturday, October 24th. According to a news release issued by the organization, Johnathan Shay, 13, was last seen on July 9th, and family members are clinging to hope he may yet be found. Volunteers are being asked to wear orange, which is the boy's favorite color, according to the release. The search is set to start at 8 a.m. There's something about this case. There was actually some pretty interesting ideas that they had about searching for him. And I don't think that this would just apply to a boy that was suffering from autism. I think that these are maybe some decent ideas for anyone that has a child that's missing. So I just want to jump back to this article that we checked out about the Vigilante group irritating the landowners. And towards the bottom here, regardless, suggestions on how to find Shay are still being posted. Leanna Connor on the Search for Johnathan Shay Facebook page posted, "I was talking with his mom's friend and suggested a few things. How about blaring his favorite song on speakers? Or singing it over a megaphone," or whatever it's called. "Does he know Marco Polo? And the Angry Birds music is a smart idea. Or Minecraft music. Or talk about Pokemon or Pikachu or Minecraft. I have a 12-year-old and that's what he likes. Does he have a favorite sport? I'm sure people will do what they can to get you the appropriate music." Which I thought was actually very clever, and I just wanted to put out there in this video for anyone that might be facing a situation like this. I think those are some relatively good ideas. There's this weird thing that's happening in this case about, we know that he was running away. how long does that feeling last? I can tell you from personal experience, yes, I tried to run away from home once. I think I was 11 or 12. I think I made it around my local block, and that was about it. That was about enough for me. But a boy suffering from autism, if he gets really focused on it, is it something he could hold on to for a day or 2 days or a week or 2 weeks? I'm really not certain. So that's kind of a strange stress in this search, is that the police, when they were looking for him, they kind of also came to the conclusion after hearing his cousin's testimony that, hey, this kid does not want to be found. Now, fortunately, he is not an adult, so it doesn't matter if he wants to be found or not. They still should be working towards finding him, and I believe they are. I hope that they may have done some more searches more recently than October, but even October was only a few months away, and I know it takes just an insane amount of resources to put those searches together and to make sure that everyone is safe in doing so. That was another issue for these search teams, is people wanted to search at night because it was so hot out there during the daytime, and of course the sheriffs were saying, look, we don't recommend that. You guys are going to get hurt because this is extremely rough terrain. So there is something about, common sense that has to come into play when conducting searches for young people like this, and just knowing that he was out in the wilderness in that type of heat, definitely something bad could have happened to him. But they have employed just about anything you can imagine. Of course, canines have been used. They also flew over the region using thermal imaging equipment to try to find hot spots at night. Unfortunately, none of those things have panned out. They have looked in, water areas. Luckily, from what the reports I've seen, the water has been pretty clear, and fortunately they haven't found anything in those areas as well. As a matter of fact, his mother apparently rode down the river. I don't know if she took a tube or a boat, but went down the river for a considerable length trying to find him. Now, in terms of conspiracy theories or something along those lines, fringe theories as I usually like to call them, there's not a whole lot. WebSleuths does have an article on this that is only 2 pages. It's very small for WebSleuths. I did a quick search, didn't find anything on Reddit, but there is a little bit of a hiccup because of a piece of film that was released by his mother, and almost like what we saw in the Madeleine McCann case, some people are questioning how she's acting in the video clip because they think that it might be too aloof or does not seem like a mother that is really scared for the welfare of her child. So I have the video clip here. We're going to watch a bit of it. Here she is, and we're only going to watch a bit of the second half of it. In the first half, she's kind of just not really knocking, but she's asking the investigators to do more. Apparently they had only searched for about 10 miles. During one of his previous endeavors, we know that he actually got about 10 miles away. So a 10-mile search area may not be big enough. That's kind of what she's suggesting in this video. But while you're watching this video, you notice that under her glasses are these really dark marks on the outsides of her eyes. And that's a bit of where a little bit of controversy comes into this story. So let's take a look.
At least. And I floated myself down the Meramec to Fagan's from the 68 construction bridge site. There was no signs of him, no clothing articles, no nothing. And got some black eyes to prove it.
You might want to explain that.
Yeah. I was going to whack a horsefly and caught myself in the nose with the Nord. So that was a fun day, and we didn't get off the river till after dark. I've been searching every day regardless, to the rumors. My family has been my support 100% since the beginning. We have been out nearly every single day the whole 28 days that's gone by so far.
So I have to admit, when I watched this, that I did feel a little strange about how light she was in that particular moment talking about hurting herself. But I have to tell you, after a few years of doing this, where you're talking to a camera, knowing that that's going to be put out in the public domain, you can have some strange reactions that don't come across quite as you intended them to. So couple that up with the fact that his cousin actually disappeared with him, was missing that whole night and not found until the middle of the next day. And I think that we could pretty much erase any thought that she might have had something to do with her son's disappearance. That being said, I don't know that I believe the story about the ore hitting her in the face and causing those marks. I have a bit of a problem with the physics and logic within that. I have seen that when people get, especially here in the Los Angeles, California area, when people get nose surgery, yes, they can severely bruise their face and it will shoot out, kind of like it looks on her face where it's out under her eyes. However, their noses have been severely traumatized, and at least from what I'm seeing in this footage, unless she did some type of awesome makeup job, her nose doesn't look like it's been affected at all. It literally looks like two separate things, one hit her here and one hit her here. I don't see anything that's connecting that damage, but I'm not a doctor. I don't know what shape the ore was. Admittedly, I have a ton of questions about it. But like I said, I don't think that plays into any type of aspect of her being involved in this whatsoever. She might be making up an excuse for some other thing that she's trying to cover up. I'm really not certain. And there is just something about the way she's laughing when she's telling that story. I think that's making people a bit uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable to watch it, but I believe that's a trigger of she's not telling us the truth about what really happened to her face. But that is a far cry and a huge leap away from she's involved in his disappearance in some way. I just, quite honestly, I don't buy it, and the facts that we do know don't seem to line up to that. So I don't think that there's a lot to be looked at in terms of that theory, that she might be involved in this or something along those lines. So unfortunately, I think we're left with a few theories. Like I mentioned before, one is he possibly was seeking help from someone, someone that may have done something with him or to him. Two, he might have succumbed to the elements. This apparently is pretty tough land, but as I mentioned, he read up on survival skills. This was kind of a fascination of his. So you can kind of look at that one in either direction. Did he make it to St. Louis? Is it really? I guess any of it is feasible. I can't really knock that thought. But in any case, this boy is missing. In any case, this story is once again disappearing. There are little blips of news segments. And like I said, the latest news I found was from October, and this is starting to go cold, but we're still only 6 to 7 months out of when this happened. So I think it's really important that we hit the accelerator on raising the awareness, and hopefully we can find Johnathan Shay, and hopefully he's in good health, possibly waiting to be found somewhere. I sincerely hope that this is not a traditional runaway case and that he's been successful. I really hope that he's waiting to be found and wants to come home. And that's where I turn it over to you guys. So this is where you can help. Please, please, please share this information about Johnathan Shay with any friends you have in the Missouri area. That's really the best way that Searchlight can help. And one of the cool things about Searchlight is when those stories dry up, when people, I mean, you can always find the little news clips about him if you search on his name. But that's what I appreciate about you viewers that are watching Searchlight. You don't know these people before you see these episodes. And the networks that you have might be different. Your friends might be different people than the people that have already been exposed to those news stories. And that's really where I think we can help strike some type of mark in terms of helping these cases. Before I go, I had a suggestion from a longtime viewer that was saying, you know, John, it'd be really cool if you could highlight people that are helping in these cases, almost give like a little bit of a positive to this. So in this particular case, I did want to go back to the first slide that we started on, and that is for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And I just wanted to point out they have a big red donate button there. They do a lot of great work. They offer a ton of services to the family. They don't charge the family for those services. So if you could find it in your heart to give to them, I believe that they are a great cause. I checked out the donate. You can use credit cards. You can use PayPal. You can do a one-time donation. You could set up a monthly donation. It'd be very, very cool for some brain scratchers to help out an organization, especially because we look to their information so many times in these cases. So if you feel compelled to do so, please do, and I thank you personally from the bottom of my heart. They're just a wonderful organization for helping in these very, very trying cases. So thanks for joining me on this edition of Searchlight. I will catch you on the next show on the Geek and Dorks channel, and I hope you have a great day and stay safe. Take care.